Would you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Morton Davis, Morty Davis, and I am chairman of the board of the Jewish Orthodox Council.
You and who you are and how did you get here?
Yeah. So early on in life, I was the biggest loser. Fortunately, I found my way back. I went back to night school at night after I dropped out of school at 14. And then I graduated from a school in Brooklyn called Central Girls High. At night it was co-ed, but my diploma says Central Girls High.
Wall Street, so you must.
No, but my children and grandchildren want to know if I'm a transvestite because it says Central Girls High. They said, Daddy, how did you go to Central Girls High when you're a man? So I have to explain to them. At night it was co-ed. And then I went to Brooklyn College and graduated top of my class. I graduated, I already had 3 kids. And then I was fortunate that I went to Harvard Business School.
Technology, interesting companies that where the life takes place. How the Wall Street can lure the talent and the inspiration of the best minds from the best institutions. For example, yesterday, I don't know if you saw a lot of big scandal took place with the colleges when so many parents paid bribes to have their kids in colleges. How the Wall Street can restore that honor and be honorable institution, even since 2008, when the collapse of market took place, a lot of trust did not come back. Even though market came back quite well, still people are quite cautious.
Well, the fact is that the best way for upward mobility, the best advice I can give young people is get an education or get a career. That's the most important thing in terms of helping yourself. Then Who's Who asked me years ago, what's my favorite statement? And it's the same one that Ronald Reagan quoted me as saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get. So my success came from hard work, not my brilliance, but just really hard work. There's always major disappointments. There's always letdowns. But if you don't give up, if you don't agree that you ever failed, then they asked Edison, supposedly he failed 1,000 times before he invented the light bulb. And they said, how did you keep it up after you failed so many times, 1,000 times, and still work at it? He says, I never failed once. They said, what do you mean? It took 1,000 times you failed, you said, before it succeeded. He said, 1,000 times I've succeeded in finding out what didn't work, what didn't work. That each time it was a success that got closer to the ultimate achievement. And that's what you got to do. You got to, after you knock down, get up and then go at it again. And ultimately, if you won't be beat, you'll succeed. And so my best advice to you is work hard. Find something you love, ideally, because then it's not work. Mark Twain said, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I see people that lead tragic lives because they hate what they do, their job is terrible, and you spend most of your time on your job. The rest of the time you're sleeping, you're eating, you're brushing your teeth, you're doing the things you have to do. So if you're waking hours, most of your life is your job, right? So when they hate their jobs, they sit there at work and they look, is it 5 o'clock yet? Can I go home? Or they're getting ulcers because they're so aggravated they hate what they do. And the people that love what they do, I couldn't wait to come in the morning. I didn't want to leave at night, even though there was plenty of aggravation and disappointments that go with a career like mine. But in the end, I felt I was accomplishing something. The cumulative effect was very rewarding. So I'm saying, always think of optimistically and positively.
May I ask you one more question? I'm a Jew and you're a Jew, and I'm on Wall Street in some way, and you also like represent Wall Street. What is the distinction between WASP money and like a Christian philosophy in Wall Street and the Jewish minds? There are so many major Jewish minds that shape the Wall Street and the financial system in the world. Is there any distinction that you can say, okay, that company led by a Jewish philosophy and it's moved with Jewish values, or this is the just a company? Like, do you see the difference when there is a finance that been done by a Jewish person or organization?
Well, it's not by accident that the Jews are an infinitesimal people in the world. Some people, you ask them, how many Jews do you think there are in the world? And they say 1 billion, 2 billion. They can't believe that, and it's hard to believe that we shouldn't count. Nobody should notice us. There's maybe 14 million Jews in the world, and that includes assimilated Jews and Jews that have they're more secular than Jewish. But notwithstanding, they seem to achieve major milestones. The Jews have relatively won more Nobel Prizes than any other group, much larger. Israel's a tiny country. It makes major impacts.
Israel actually doesn't have that many Nobel laureates, which is quite surprising to me. There are so many Jewish Nobel winners, but around the world, but not from that many from Israel.
Well, that's because it's a young country, and they will do it. But I'll tell you, interestingly, the Arab world and the Muslim world, the Jews, I don't remember exactly, but I think over time we got maybe 750 or more Nobel Prizes. And in the most important areas, in medicine, in physics, in chemistry, and math, and economics. No, so let me tell you, that contrasts, there's 1,400,000,000 Muslims. You know how many the Muslims and the Arabs got? About, how much do you think they got? I think it's 5. And 5 out of 5, I don't think one of them is in medicine. I don't believe any is in physics. I know one is by a Persian novelist out of Iran. One is by, I think, another novelist out of Egypt. I think one might have something to do with math or science. And 2 are related directly to Israel. Okay. You know who the 2 are? Anwar Sadat got the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize, and Arafat got the Nobel, both because of their relationship with Israel. So while they didn't get any themselves, they got the 2 for the Arab and the Muslim world. So what's the secret of the Jew? And why? Look, when I was, one of the reasons I dropped out of school when I was 14 was I hated religion, I hated Judaism, I hated school, I hated God, because it was the height of the Depression. My rabbis were all newly arrived from Russia and Poland, very frustrated. They were learning the language, making very low income. They used to beat me up, so I hated them. My father was newly arrived from Hungary. He couldn't get a job. He was religious. He wouldn't work on Saturday. In those days, you had to work on Saturday to get a job. He had his own pushcart. That was his business on the Lower East Side. And he beat me up out of frustration and out of hard times. And then a lot of the... I don't think you beat your kids. No, I don't. Once I did, and I'll never do it again. But... and then, for some reason, I don't know, I wore a skull cap, and some of the Christian kids used to beat me up saying I killed Jesus. And I didn't know who Jesus was, because at my Hebrew parochial school, at my yeshiva, they didn't mention him, so I didn't know. But I thought they had the wrong kid. But notwithstanding that, the first 14 years I thought I was a punching bag. And I didn't enjoy any part of it, because I went to school from 9 to 7 every day, including Sunday. So, and the next block was a public school, and they got out at 2:30, and they were playing ball, and I never had a chance to play ball. I got off early on Friday, but Friday, as you know, in the winter, we got out at 1 o'clock, and I had to get ready for the Sabbath, take a shower, get ready. So I never had a chance. I hated it. But no, let me just tell you the punchline. The one thing that I hated the learning. The one thing that they inculcated in me was the respect for learning. The highest form of serving God in Judaism is not prayer. Higher than prayer is education, learning, sitting and learning, and finding a mate that you sit and learn with. And so that's why, of my own volition, that stuck with me. And in those days, all the three best schools in New York were Stuyvesant, Bronx High School of Science, and I think Brooklyn Tech.
Yep,
and the best kids, the top kids in all those schools were Jewish. Do you know today who the top kids in all those schools are? Asian. And you know why? Because they teach them the same thing. Education. A girl, some years ago, a Chinese girl committed suicide in Queens. You know why? Because she got a B. She committed suicide.
We have to wrap up.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hear more from this outstanding gentleman, come in and we'll. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You're one of the two ladies that are honored with the Jewish Chamber of Commerce tonight. Can you tell a little bit about your story, who you are, what do you do, why do you think you have such an honor?
So first and foremost, it's a great honor, of course, to be recognized by the Chamber in this very important month where we're celebrating women. And I believe the tagline that I saw under my name and Lauren's name is the fact that we are supporting minorities and elevating who we are, especially in the business world. And my story is that of the typical American dream. So I came to this country at the age of 17 without speaking English, with a suitcase and a pocket translator and a student visa. And my whole family's in Colombia still to this day. So fast forward, I eventually became a corporate executive. I was at Johnson & Johnson for 10 years and then opened my own business, which is, I have two companies right now. One is a big data analytics company called Culture Intel and a consulting and marketing firm called CN Plus. And we are in the business of showing Fortune 500s, how they can turn America's shifting demographics and minority markets into growth segments for their business. So we do that with technology, with strategies, and with marketing inclusiveness. So I guess we're bringing this notion of minorities not as a social responsibility project, but as a way to drive accelerated growth in business.
How do you think your corporate experience with Johnson & Johnson helped you to shape your culture and discipline to drive and produce revenue for yourself and your firm and your maybe shareholders?
Yeah, so definitely my corporate experience was invaluable because especially a corporation like Johnson & Johnson that is global, I had the chance to move 6 times when I was at J&J and had broad exposure to US and European business. It gave me a broader perspective of the possibilities of business. And I think actually to this day, I say that Johnson & Johnson was the muse for my business because when I was there is when I realized that we needed to look at our markets in a more inclusive way because otherwise you'll be leaving money on the table if we don't bring it all together, acknowledging America's shifting demographics. So definitely it shaped not only shaped my experience at Johnson & Johnson, not only shaped me, but it actually inspired the creation of my business. And to this day, I give them credit for it. So it's great. I think I always tell young people that want to jump into entrepreneurship right away because it seems very fashionable these days, right, to be an entrepreneur. I say, well, if you have the opportunity to kind of check that corporate experience and learn from the structure of what that means, it's going to be invaluable for you to eventually become your own business owner. Not everybody likes the corporate life, but I like having now the two perspectives and see how the two of them complement each other so well.
Since we have months of March when women are celebrated. Can you talk a little bit about what is the distinction of having woman-centric business versus business where all the guys? Like there are I've seen quite a few teams where just all the girls and there are all the guys, and when there is a diverse between different genders, is there any particular dynamic that's specific to feminine business run by a girl?
Yeah, so it's very interesting because putting emotion aside, I'm a data person. So there's plenty of research that keeps showing that actually female-led companies or founded by women are actually performing 63 times better than the male-owned and run companies. This is brand new data from, the VC community. So there is evidence in numbers that there is better outputs in terms of business results, which is very interesting. Now, you may be wondering why. Actually, Harvard has done a lot of studies related to this, like what is it that makes a female CEO different? And it's kind of the way we're wired is different. So even though you may see it as soft, the fact that maybe women want to collaborate more and nurture more the team, that is actually a key differentiator that inspires your team to do more and do better, not because they have to, but because they want to. So there is something on that emotional intelligence angle that has been proven over and over again that is a unique female perspective. But independent of that, I always tell people that without a female perspective, you're leaving on the table a lot of business opportunity because women make 80% of purchasing decisions across all categories. So you need to have that perspective to be able to be efficient in selling whatever it is that you're selling most of the time. And when you have that around the table when you're making decisions, it's going to be easier to understand what your buyers or shoppers want. So it's good. And I don't think it's a men versus women thing. We need each other. It needs to be a partnership. We need to be in collaboration and not in competition. And that's really ultimately when you get the best results.
Can you talk about your businesses? You mentioned you have two. What is the mission? What is the pitch? What do you say? How do you pitch your business to the audience that you're the best?
So let me start by kind of describing who my ideal customer is. So my clients are typically Fortune 500 CEOs, CFOs, CMOs that are looking for new ways to grow in a very fast-changing marketplace. So when you look at the numbers, America is going to become a majority-minority nation by 2040. In many cities like New York, we're already majority-minority. And you can look at that for what it is in terms of diversity and social issues, but I don't even go there. I'm just going to look at the makeup of my market. Who are the customers that you want to reach? And the pitch then to those Fortune 500s is, let me show you how much money you're leaving on the table by not successfully tapping into the segments that are driving most of the population and market growth for your industries. And then modeling that in numbers will show them, oh, wow, I need to change the way I go to market, the products I develop, the way I engage people so that they can achieve their full potential and growth. So it's a numbers conversation that we have, and we show them how to do it so that they can turn what is flat or single-digit growth into double-digit growth.
If my audience would like to maybe collaborate with you and work with you and maybe hire you, I have quite a few Fortune 500 folks watching with YouTube. Actually, YouTube is kind of inclusive in that sense. It allows people to watch more as the incognito versus like a Facebook or like any other social media. So a lot of executives and people who work in like even in the like in the government or FBI, they don't have like say Facebook or Instagram accounts, but they watch content on YouTube. So if they want to reach out to you, what would be like? Do you have like Instagram or Facebook by any chance?
I would encourage them to maybe follow. When you follow me on Twitter, you will see all of the links to my companies there, which is very simple. Is Lily Gill, Ligil. But my company's website is cultureintel.com and cn.plus, because we don't do the .com, is different.
Twitter is your choice of social media. Why?
I have different ones. I think social media.
Twitter is number one, right?
Twitter is where I kind of put my thought leadership, my opinion about what's happening in business and politics in the economy with a lens of cultural or cultural intelligence, as I call it. You see a lot of that in LinkedIn as well. So my choice is to use social media as a means to educate and elevate our message of cultural intelligence.
Why Instagram versus like Facebook or Instagram or like a YouTube for that matter?
Here's how I see it. LinkedIn is kind of like the boardroom in the office. Facebook is more like the the living room with your friends and colleagues. And Twitter is kind of like the bar where you bump into people you know and you may not know, and you can have a very superficial conversation or maybe strike a chord in a common topic. Kind of like the happy hour at Wall Street here. So you gotta know the context. Some people just kind of think everything works for everything. And Instagram, I am there, but I am not like the Instagram person, because it's where, you're posting either this beautiful photography about like your fashion, your food, your decorations, and that's not what I'm doing. But yeah, there's a place for everything, and instead of being everywhere, I would just pick one or two where it matters. For me, is LinkedIn and Twitter for sure.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Lily choose not to use our media, which is YouTube, but maybe,
YouTube.
but
YouTube
maybe.
is so important to me, actually.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
you still say.
I have Lily Gill on YouTube. I have so much in there. I think I have over, I don't know, 2-3 million views. It's a lot. Yes. And I got discovered on YouTube to actually, like, I go on national television now in different shows, and it was because somebody found me on YouTube. There you go. So you may be next.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Good job. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we get to speak to Lauren. And even though Lauren is young and 23 years old, but 24 now, but at 23 you get to join the New York Stock Exchange. Can you talk a little bit about your story?
Yeah, so my story, I'm from Marietta, Georgia, the suburbs of Atlanta, and I graduated with a genetics degree. And the day I graduated, I decided I was going to move to New York and not pursue a career within genetics. Came to New York, did a whole bunch of networking. I think I reached out to over 300 people. I met a guy who introduced me to another guy on the trading floor. And the rest is history. I became the second African-American woman female trader at the New York Stock Exchange.
So, let's start over. This is a Woman History Month. So let's not talk about meeting a guy and getting to the Wall Street and like as a feminist, as a lady, what have you done? Like how that put you in front of the Wall Street? Like, is there any particular angle that you have? You obviously have the smarts, you have the beauty, you have the abilities. Like how that could be important and make sense at the Wall Street. There are so many people trying to get there, and so very few succeed. What is your angle? Like, why did you conquer?
I would say networking for sure. I mean, I know we're making this about Women's Month, which is great. My hero happened to be a male, but I think the power of networking is going to be your best friend. I had zero connections here in New York, but I reached out to any and anybody who would listen to me. I mean, I definitely had people saying I was reaching too high, or I didn't have any clear direction because I wanted to leave, not continue to pursue my genetics degree. And there was one person that really went to bat for me, and I'm so happy that I was able to meet him. But if it wasn't him, I honestly think it would have eventually have been another person along the way. But power of networking is definitely going to be your best friend.
Okay, let's talk a little bit quickly about networking. There are different ways to network. Some folks go to the meetings like today and network and meet people. Some people go on like social media like Facebook, Instagram. Some folks like write emails and letters and make phone calls. What do you think the best recipe for networking? How the networking works for you?
So networking, I would definitely say, isn't cut and dry. No one's two stories are going to be the same, but I think you do need to be realistic. My mom, she works within HR for a large company, and for one job posting, she gets anywhere between 8 and 12,000 applicants. So if you actually want to have a chance, because they're really not going through 12,000 applications, to be honest. It really is going to be a sense of who you know. So if you want a chance, my advice, I mean, what I did, but again, there are different avenues. I went on LinkedIn. I reached out to people that were in HR recruiting roles, that were in senior executives, people that would be in power decision roles, that would at least be able to get me into the building to talk to someone else or to actually have me apply for the job. But I think as far as making sure you have your resume down and doing this, although these are very important, it's not as important in today's society because they're just not reading 12,000 resumes. It's really going to be the face-to-face connection and who do you know.
Okay. If folks would like to maybe get a little bit more advice from you, do you have any social media like Facebook, Instagram?
Yes. So you can follow me on Instagram at LA Simmons. And you could also reach me on LinkedIn. I have a huge following on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, LinkedIn for professionals probably the best media at this point. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, Rebecca is next to me, and thanks to Rebecca, I'm here. So we are at the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce, the honorable event for the celebration of two young ladies tonight for the Women Month. And Rebecca is the person who sent out the invite for all the brick producers that came over here. Let's find out about your story. We chat a little earlier. So you are doing stuff with David and you're doing things with United Nations. Can you talk a little bit about your story? What do you do?
I'm an international journalist at the United Nations. I cover the platform of politics, human rights, national security, and until recently, I was into the climate change arena. I've backfired from the climate change arena right now because it's going in a direction that I don't really like at the moment. And I'm also the special assistant to Dovey Hanning here at the Chamber of Commerce. And what we are trying to do is to unite countries together, civil society, government, through the mechanism of commerce. Tonight we are honoring two very special women. One is Lauren Simmons. You must have heard about Lauren Simmons. She's the youngest African American on the stock market at the moment. Very phenomenal woman. I think there's a movie is going to be made about her life, and we are very excited that we know her and to honor her with this award. You know, this is Women History Month. And the next woman is Lily Jill Valeta. She's from Hispanic origin. She's Latino. She works at the White House with Ivanka Trump on the empowerment of women. So we are very honored to have these two women here tonight to give them an award and to thank them for the contribution to women history and what they are doing in the world at large.
Can you talk a little bit about your journey as the journalist and the United Nations and how those things connected between the Jewish Chamber of Commerce and the United Nations and EU and between those?
Well, as you know, everything demands communication. Without communication, I don't think we can do very much. Had it not been for you here tonight, we would not be able to even have any press. So communication is very, very important. Now, I started my career as a print journalist with Caribbean News. I'm originally from the Caribbean. I grew up in Toronto, Canada, and I made my way through various networks into the United Nations. I like to cover politics mainly and national security because for me it tells a lot about other countries And seeing that the Chamber of Commerce is in the process of uniting countries together, especially within the Foreign Affairs Division, that is where I come in, where I can talk with ambassadors at the United Nations and bring them to our chamber, speak about civil society and government and what the chamber can do for them in terms of trade and commerce.
Before when I came in, we had a little chat about the cause of Israel. Can you elaborate on those topics, please?
Israel, as you know, is not a very good word at the United Nations, but we are trying to be friendly. The friendlier we can become, the better. Every year, the United Nations have a spate of resolutions against Israel, and if we can have countries vote in favor of Israel, we would have achieved quite a lot. So therefore, what the Chamber can do in this regard is to bring ambassadors together in terms of commerce. Uniting the world through commerce is one of the specific themes of the Chamber of Commerce. And if we can do that, then we also have achieved in bridging the gap between world governments and the Chamber in bringing a reality to Israel where it's concerned on the international scene.
Okay. What cause particular subject to be raised and be covered by media, by someone like you in the news, as the journalist, and which stories you pass? How do you pick which story matters?
Normally, I look for what is trending in the international news. For instance, anti-Semitism is very widely spoken about, and the BDS movement, boycott, divestment, sanctions against Israel, and how the Chamber of Commerce can act as an intermediator. My president, Davi Hanin, is doing a very good job at that. He also has the Economic Development Day program where he is trying to bring this into reality. So by emphasizing the BDS movement, by talking about anti-Semitism, what is trending in mainstream media, the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce can go to great lengths to educate the public of what is taking place.
As far as the months of honoring women in the society, like what else folks can do to make aware of equal rights and the movement of the feminism, and they call it March, months of issues around the feminism. Is there any particular things that can be changed in the next 4 or 5 years?
Well, as you know, March is normally Women's History Month. It's celebrated throughout the world at large. One of the things that we want to bring to prominence is women in development. At the United Nations at the moment, they are celebrating Women's History Month, the Commission on the Status of Women. They have, different programs where they are celebrating Women's History Month. What the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce wants to do is to also become a part of that. We are all also a part of that already by honoring these two women here tonight, giving prominence to women and making women be in the centerpiece of what is taking place. So Goal 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals also speak about women empowerment, bringing women together. So if the Chamber of Commerce can unite with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals program, especially goal number 5, and with the activities of the Commission on the Status of Women, then we would have achieved quite a lot as well.
Folks would like to reach out to you, maybe have one of the stories to be covered by you. Do you have like Instagram or Facebook? What is the way to communicate with you, like email?
Well, we have the Chamber of Commerce, ojchamber.com. That's our website. You can go out there, look at the work that we do. Me particular, I do well. I have my own personal email, rebethd @aol.com, or you could send me an email, rebecca@ojchamber.com, and I'll be very happy to respond and to take it from there.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Perhaps that would be end of this piece. And if you'd like to ask Rebecca more questions, she gracefully shared with you her email. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Talent. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we have another event guest. We're going to find out what is the young lady name and why she is here. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Erin Rodriguez, and I work at Beach Hill Securities. It's a broker-dealer, and I help run the operations for the firm.
Okay. What do you think you're going to get out of today celebration, honorary kind of ceremony? Do you think next year maybe you could be one of those guests?
I hope so. That's the goal. I'm really inspired by Lauren Simmons, and when I was studying to get my licensing in Series 7, she was a big motivation for me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really excited to be here and to meet her and to honor her.
Okay, cool. What do you think you can get from coming to meet her in person versus you can probably write her a message on Instagram or Facebook, but physical communication face to face is quite a bit different. Not what's the distinction?
Well, I'm hoping to speak to her about her career and gain some advice to hopefully follow in her footsteps.
Do you have any social media by any chance? Like a Facebook? What is it?
It's Erin Rod on Instagram.
Erin Rod on Instagram. Instagram is better.
Yes.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, check it out. Maybe next year we'll have a next honoree here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there is next to me a fellow brick producer. We're gonna find out who he is and why he came to the Jewish Chamber of Commerce. Well, we know that Matthew sent an email, and me and some other folks responded and came here. Can you talk a little bit about your brick journey, who you are?
Yeah, sure. Well, first, my name is Bryant. I've been with Brick for about a year now, but I didn't actually become like an actual producer until I want to say December of last year. And pretty much the reason why I'm here is because I love video production and everything that goes around it. So that's pretty much what brought me here. Same as you. Like I saw Matthew's email and I was like, oh wow, like this really looks like something that I would be glad to be a part of because it looks like it really is going to impact the community.
Hello. If folks would like to work with you as a fellow producer, how they can reach out? Do you have like Instagram by any chance?
Yeah, sure. So you can contact me via Instagram at AUDIMARR on Instagram, or you can contact my email at b.c.walker009@gmail.
Cool, guys. Take a look.
We are walking side by side. I was actually at an event yesterday, and I told the room, I said, you know what, we need to change our language, because when you say that we need to find allies and make men our allies, that sounds like we're at war with somebody, because it implies that, right? So it's like changing the term in a way. No, we are collaborators, and we are partners with each other, and that is when you make America work again and be incredible. But I am just delighted and honored to be here. You know, I hardly ever come to this part of town because my offices are on 32nd and 6th, and I live in the Upper East, so I hardly ever make it below like the 30s. And it's such a great reminder of this country, and to me, still surreal. I don't take it for granted being this, you know, fearless girl from Colombia. And I did come to this country with just a suitcase and a dream. And my entire family is still in Colombia. So this is the land of opportunity. I often tell my fellow American friends that were born here that it's easy to take it for granted. And it's interesting how, despite our own personal journeys, there's so much more that unite us that we even realize. And many times that resilience and the struggle is what makes you even stronger in that process. So I remember crying in my dorm room because I couldn't understand a thing. And eventually, you know, fast forward now, I've been blessed to have a successful corporate career at Johnson & Johnson for 10 years, and now I'm a business owner. And I have the great pleasure of employing people and growing a business and impacting boardrooms in different corporations. So it's very humbling. So I guess my message beyond the fact that yes, women are great, I think we know that, preaching to the choir, is to never ever forget where we come from. That's something that I carry with me every day. Also to realize that we ought to be in collaboration and not in competition. The pie is big enough. Seriously, and in business and all, I think we tell ourselves limiting thoughts when we see others that are successful as competitors. I see them as partners to make things even bigger. And definitely us as women, to also don't lose who we are as women. We were created as such because that gives us a very unique strength. Now research has proven it, that women-led businesses are performing better. Sorry, that's what it says.
Well, this is a not-for-profit, so you better be doing better than
But there you go, women-led business is actually 63% greater results than the men. And this was based on a 10-year study. So let's not forget that and own it, right? Own it, stay beautiful, stay feminine, stay confident, but be very competent too in the process, because looks only go so far. It's the brains. And brains will be lethal when combined with, kind of that confidently beautiful attitude. So let's just do that and have fun in this journey of life and business, and keep supporting each other, which is something I admire so much of you, Dewey. You've kind of adopted me in many ways, and my mother and grandmother, rest in peace, will be very proud. That's a story for another time, but I am a proud, half Sephardic Jew turned, Sabbath-keeping Christian. Is very odd. I can tell you over dinner.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? My mom sent me to Israel when I was 18, and I was, my grandparents could never be buried at a cemetery in Colombia because they weren't Catholic. And it was all kinds of funny stories like that. So it's like this duality that I have now that is so special to kind of like find people that, again, reconnects me to a lot of who I am. And I did do the 23andMe, and it came out. I was like, oh, that's so exciting. Anyway, but there's so much more that unites us than we know, and it's exciting to just share it with new people and keep making it happen. So, anyway, thank you so much.
You're
Thanks
a
for
great
the
role model.
opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your warm words, inspirational words, and leadership words.
Thank you.
And the next one is to address,
I don't even know. We're just making history. I mean, even with my story. So I am so honored for all the women that have come before me, all the women that will come after me, all the groundbreaking things that we have in store. But I also, like you said, want to reiterate that I don't want us to be so divided in the sense of, oh, it's just women and we're the only ones lifting each other up. We do have a counterpart. They are males. We are only, only females or males, and I don't know. But yeah, but because of that, I do think that you should definitely look to your coworkers or your colleagues or your opposite sex, and they will be the ones to help you as well. I think you should be inclusive of everybody, and I'm just so honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me for Women's History Month. And just all that's going on in the media, like in this month alone, has been wonderful. So as far as women and growth and empowerment, so I'm definitely looking forward to the future. And sorry my speech isn't as long, but yeah, that's it.
Tell us
Thank you.
about your story.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, my story. So So I'm from Georgia, born and raised. I have a twin brother with cerebral palsy, which is one of the reasons why I studied genetics in college. Long story short, they're not as technologically advanced as I had hoped. So I'm writing my senior thesis, realize I'm going to walk across the stage to get my diploma. I'm not going to pursue genetics, but I did know that I was going to move to New York. I don't know what it was calling me. I know it's cliche, move to New York, move to LA after you graduate, but for me, I really knew. And when I went to New York, there were many people who, you know, I didn't have any clear direction of where I wanted to go, or I was reaching too high in the positions that I was applying for. But the one thing that everyone in this room knows, or all the people who will see this, or anybody that you retell the story to, you are your biggest critic, and you know you well amongst anybody. So people will tell you no, and they will tell you no again, and that's only them projecting their own insecurities onto you. You know yourself best, and if you feel like you can achieve something, you will achieve it, period. And so for me, I came to New York, and with all the naysayers, I did end up meeting someone who introduced me to the trading floor, and from there I was brought onto the trading floor and became the second African-American woman at the New York Stock Exchange in 226 years. So I am so grateful to have been part of that journey, and from there, I've since left the trading floor. I was there for 2 years, and now I'm just working on continuing to build the brand of Lauren, working on my movie as executive producer. I just got signed to do a TV show, so I'll be able to share more with that, and then working on my book, and then doing my speaking engagements. This story broke in May of last year, so it hasn't even been a year, and I've already toured 8 different countries. Wow. And I'm booked to go to many more this summer, so I'm super excited to continue to share my story. And I get floored when, for instance, I just got back from Beijing, and there were 600 people that turned out, and I just couldn't believe all the way in China that they had heard my story and they were inspired by it. So if there's anything that I want to continue doing is pushing financial literacy, especially amongst women. A lot of you in this room aren't at the age, but a lot of the women who are in families, they are the ones balancing the books at the end of the day. They are doing a lot of the money savvy, and because they're doing a lot of the money savviness within the household, they should be investing, and not just in the stock market, but just in general. Have that financial security for yourself, that financial independence for yourself, and go on and do amazing things. So that is and will continue to be my message, and I hope for my one story I can at least inspire one person to go on and do other amazing things.
That's awesome.
Beautiful.
Norton Davis. Every day we're learning more and more of the therapeutic power of the creative arts. 25 years ago, Creative Arts Rehabilitation Center was started using this power to treat emotionally ill individuals for whom other treatments had failed. It is truly the pioneer in this unique field of mental health. Creative art therapies, including music, dance, art, drama, and poetry, are the only bridge to reality for many patients who fail to respond to conventional psychotherapy. The arts provide therapists with the ability to reach patients and provide patients with the means to find their own strength and identity. For this, I salute you and wish I were there with you tonight. In 1982, Celeste, I was pleased to appoint you to the National Council on the Arts, and you've served our nation well. No stranger to volunteerism, you've received many honors that include the Edward Strecker Award, the Mental Health Association of Greater Chicago Award, and the Zonta International Humanitarian Award. Celeste, you've raised thousands and thousands of dollars for UNICEF in a unique way by charging a nominal fee each time you sign an autograph. But perhaps I see you, Celeste, most vividly as Anne Detry in Gentleman's Agreement, for which you won an Oscar. Also honored tonight is another native New Yorker, J. Morton Davis, trustee of Yeshiva University. Morton Davis received this university's Heritage Award in 1984, and he's been a generous supporter of the Creative Arts Rehabilitation Center. When I think of Mr. Davis, I think of his 1983 book, Making America Work Again. When interviewed after the book came out, Mr. Davis said, "The hardest thing to find is hard-working people." Morton Davis proves that working effectively is deeply satisfying. Celeste Holm and J. Morton Davis, you are prime examples of those hard-working folk who make America work. Thank you, God bless you, and good night.
What event. And now that it worked out for today, to make this statement, I'm really excited and very, appreciative everyone traveled and came, especially gave time and everything. And I want to thank the media, all the media here who's going to give over the message, came special, and recorded, and they're going to give over the message what we're giving tonight over here on Wall Street to all the women out there in the world, appreciating them. And
Tell all these women what a great woman you recruited recently. Rebecca, down at the end there, she's a superstar.
Rebecca's my, she's my special assistant and we're coordinating. She's also very active in the UN, and we are working together with our relationships and with all her skills and literally reaching country
Does
to
your
country.
wife know about your relationship with Rebecca?
Yes, we are going to be speaking about that. We spoke about that already. And I'm super excited as well to meet with you, Lauren Simmons. When I read your story, I practically cried. I cried for a lot of reasons because I know, looking at you as a source of inspiration for millions of women. My daughter called me and told me, "Mom, did you read about this girl?" And I goes, "I read it, Mom. Aren't you excited?" I says, "But of course. Mom, she could be your daughter." I said, "Well, I'm not her mother, but I'm very proud for her, and I wish you all the best. I admire you, and the most I can do is just go for it. As I said previously, you're a source of inspiration for millions of women, African Americans. You brought diversity into a whole vacuum and take it out and then expand it. So the Chinese girl could look at you and say, "I can be Lauren." The black woman can look at you and say, "I am going to be Lauren." The Caucasian, every woman, she has showed us what it is to be woman. And then you, Lily, I looked at your bio and I'm saying, I'm an immigrant as well. I was born in the Caribbean island, Dominica. I grew up in Toronto. You came from Colombia. If she can do it, everybody else can do it. Your story is a pillar of strength for women as well. So we are thankful to have you here. And it's Women's History Month, and we look forward to doing great things together with the Chamber, with you women as well. Thank you so much.
You guys are making history.
And I just want to let everyone know that our events, if you look at the booklets, our expos are acknowledged by presidents, by President Obama, President Trump, by governors and by senators. We're also acknowledging women for Women History Month. It's a big state. The women we choose to acknowledge, to give a message to the world, and we're proud. And with that, we're going to give the awards. For Lauren, Lily, Gilberetta, please come up, accept the awards.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're fabulous. Thank you.
You should be getting royalties for this.
Yeah. It's hot off the press.
Thank you.
Don't get a hernia.
That's just
Hot off the press.
just came out.
We'll enjoy
I want to
it.
get a picture with you.
Yes.
But
Let's
I want
first
that one.
let's first get the awards, then with the logo.
I'm going off script, I'm sorry. Lauren, I think I posted on my social
Rebecca,
media
you want
about
me the
you.
photos?
Did you? Like last year.
You want me the photo?
Now that I'm thinking, because I'm a big mega fan for stories.
Let's come over here. That's the way to sign.
I was already your fan without you knowing.
And I'm excited. I told
You've made a great connection here.
Yes, Lily and Lauren, you guys will do great work together.
I never had it done.
Where do you want us to look?
Over here.
Okay. Thank you. And now Oh, you want a picture? Sure. Okay, let's get the logo. Okay, now we're going to go down and take a picture. The cameras that we're going to work downstairs.
Okay. Can you please introduce yourself for the audience? Who are you?
My name is Dovi Honig. I'm the founder and CEO of the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce, located at 44 Wall Street, as well as New Jersey and on the West Coast and Israel and local, nationwide, international.
And what kind of event will take place tonight? What the audience will see?
Tonight we're celebrating the Women History Month. We're going to be honoring African American women. Lauren Simmons, who was the youngest woman to be able to work on Wall Street on the floor to trading, the 23-year-old, made history. And we're going to be honoring as well.
Rolling.
The second woman we'll be honoring tonight is Lily Gilvalera. She's a Latina woman who's lobbying, and working together with Ivanka Trump and for empowering women. And she's part of our Women to Workforce from the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce. And we work together to empower minorities, underprivileged women, men, and different nationalities, build bridges between everyone, and that's what we're proud. The Jewish community, Latino community, and the African American community all tonight being honored and celebrating Women History Month, and we're proud to host it over here on 44 Wall Street.
Can you talk a little bit about the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce? What is the mission? What do you do? What is the future?
The Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce was established in the recession 10 years ago, and we started building networks to be able to have infrastructure that could help empower underprivileged, undereducated people who lost their jobs, middle-aged people, and create a network that empowers all. By doing that, we were very successful in building bridges from the Jewish community, out of the Jewish community, into other minority communities, states, countries, government, and all the way internationally as well. As a matter of fact, we're hosting a big Jewish expo in Israel, International Expo, on May 15th in Jerusalem as well.
That's wonderful. What is the difference? There are so many Jewish organizations, so many Jewish synagogues and temples and places. This one is actually happening, locates on 44 Wall Street. That's a very big magnitude, as the title. What is the distinction to have such an address?
That's an excellent question. And just to give you a background, we just introduced legislation in New Jersey, not just in Wall Street, and the first in the history of all this. The history of the United States. Okay, I'll say it. Okay. We just have a lot to say. We introduced that legislation, the first Economic Development Day in this history of the United States of America and in the world. It passed 39-0, and now every second Monday of May is Economic Development Day in the state of New Jersey. We wrote the legislation based on our success of creating infrastructure to be able to empower the new millennium world. And we're very proud of it. There's a Labor Day. A Labor Day is a day which people just celebrate and don't work. But Economic Development Day is proactive. We're going to go out today, stimulate the economy, create jobs, networking events, to stress tests, eliminate old government and state programs, and create new ones for the millennium world that can empower people. And we're sharing our success with the world. So at this point, why are we different than other Jewish organizations? Our whole mission of our organization is to be able to reach beyond the Jewish community and bridge everyone together and build relationships.
What is special about the address as of 44 Wall Street? You can be in any other place. You can be, there are so many streets around the world or in this country. You pick the Wall Street. What is the significance of that address?
So this statement of what Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce means is business, empowerment, creating from the roots up, like the whole world, moves on the stock market. The businesses and companies go onto the market to be able to grow and bring others to partake and be able to invest in them. That's what we do. The Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce is a very strong root. Within the stronger, deeper the roots, the taller the tree, and stronger the tree. And we are a root, and we are the rainmakers today for economic development. I was just in Washington last week and met with leaders of the from Labor Department and from Commerce Department to be able to share with them ways to be able to create new avenues to help empower the new millennium world.
What is the significance and the reasoning for the Jewish Chamber of Commerce to celebrate the Women's Day? In the Jewish tradition, we have, sometimes weddings, girls on one side, guys on the other side. There is a distinction between genders. What is the importance to celebrate Women Month with the Orthodox Jewish community?
So that's another excellent question. And we have a women to workforce division already since the recession. We help empower professional women. And the Jewish nation is very different than other minorities who some of them look down at women and separate them from the men because of a negative approach. Our approach is positive. The women are very valued. When a man wouldn't shake a woman's hand, it's because he respects her privacy, not because he's better than her. And therefore the women, like it says in the Talmud, it says Chachmas Nashim Ban Sabayis, that the wisdom of women build homes and bring them together. We respect the women, and out of respect, there's nothing bigger than to respect them for their accomplishments in the world, for their contribute, and for setting the infrastructure and the foundations for every home and for the economy. And Women History Month, there's nothing more beautiful than that to celebrate with them.
My last question for this piece would be, what are the benefits of joining Jewish Chamber of Commerce? Is there any particular reasons why people should come and look at your website and pay attention and maybe join and become part of your team?
Absolutely. So our chamber is an umbrella of organizations, and our model is to partner with other chambers, partner with others. Well, first, the businesses have a voice. They get networking. We have the largest JBIZ Expo in New Jersey. Our expos are acknowledged. We have letters from the President, Obama, Trump, governors, Phil Murphy, and all over, people are acknowledge how we stimulate the economy. So being part of a union and a family of businesses that shares and networks with other businesses, as you see today, we're doing Latino women, the African American women, the Jewish Chamber of Commerce, bringing people together, empowering them to be able to set differences apart and use commerce to unite people and create business and stimulate our economy that will lead into our economic development day that's shared, nationwide. That is huge, and everyone can be part of this.
If I may, one more question. Your assistant, Rebecca, also worked not only for you, but also with the United Nations. What is the significance of the Jewish Chamber of Commerce that can bring change to United Nations and their perception of Israel?
That's another excellent question. We are at the forefront of fighting the BDS movement, fighting the boycotts, the divestment sanctions, those who boycott companies in Israel. And I'll tell you a secret, we're not doing it so much for the Jewish cause, we're doing it for the Palestinian cause. The Palestinian people, we do a U.S.-Israel Business Alliance mission, and we went to factories that have 400 Palestinian workers, and they asked me personally to be a voice for them and say they get paid 3 times as much and they're treated like a billion times better, respectful, and the factories are clean, and they wish that others could be able to, have such work environments, and it's being stopped by selfish. The Palestinian Authority was using propaganda to get the outside world, to think that boycotting Israel is hurting these Jewish factories, and it's really hurting the Palestinian people. And by people losing jobs, they get them to riot and be terrorists. So that's a voice that Palestinian people told me and asked me personally to voice. So, what was the question?
I was questioning about the cause of Israel at the United Nations.
Yeah, so let me go back. Right. So, the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce successfully bridged gaps between countries and nations and cultures where they'll be divided otherwise, brought them together through commerce. And now we're doing it on the United Nations level. We just had Haiti come to us today with the Haiti crisis, was followed by the Venezuela, asking us, pleading to us over here on Wall Street, the ambassador saying that Israel was, when Israel was established, the Haiti vote was what counted to form that country. Today, 70 years later, Haiti's coming to us, the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce, asking for the Jewish voice, and of course Israel as well. We should to be able to help them establish, stabilize the economy, establish jobs. 60% of the population in Haiti is between 15 and 25. They're all aggressive and looking to work and want to work, and they came to us to be able to give their voice to the world. What we're giving back, and we're excited to do. So, and in the next, in 2 weeks from now, we're going to be hosting 15 different ambassadors, UN ambassadors, different countries, and building bridges between all the countries fighting anti-Semitism and uniting to be able to focus on commerce and be able to share our...
Будьте добры, как вас зовут?
Меня зовут Леонора Булычева. Я президент Social Club Элита, клуба Элита. И
расскажите, вот я снимал ваше шоу в Кинсборо колледже в прошлом году в прошлом году. Зачем вы такие вот фэшн-шоу устраиваете? Чего вы добиваетесь? Как это работает?
вы знаете, у меня такая идея интересная. Дело в том, что клуб мой называется «Элита». Это в памяти моей мамочки. Она удивительно добрая, удивительно красивая была женщина. И я подумала, что совсем не обязательно красивые модели, яркие платья, элегантные должны быть на девочках 20-летних, 18-летних. И совсем не обязательно они будут красиво смотреться только очень тонкие, высокие, юные девушки. И я стала делать модели, в которых женщина любого возраста становится просто королевой.
Вот смотрите, вот вы делаете фэшн-шоу. Что это вам дает? Вы, скажем, зарабатываете деньги со спонсоров, вы получаете удовольствие от изготовления, вам нравится участие. Для чего это?
Вы знаете, все, что вы перечислили, кроме зарабатывания денег. Значит, я, во-первых, огромное удовольствие получаю, когда я делаю, это как бы имиджмейкер, я не знаю по-английски, а по-русски я создаю образ. И когда женщина одевает, то есть там все, шляпка, перчатки, украшения, само платье и так далее, оно меняет женщину настолько, что она превращается действительно из Золушки в принцессу или в королеву. Мне нравится это превращение.
Скажите, а для чего? Вот вы сказали мне, что вы в апреле будете делать новое шоу. О чем это будет шоу? Где это будет? Делайте анонс.
Это будет совершенно удивительное шоу. Вот в Манхэттене проходит Fashion Week. А я решила сделать такую не совсем альтернативу, но, по крайней мере, бруклинскую. Fashion Queen. Fashion Queen это будет проходить в ресторане «Огни Баку» на 86-й стрит, Бруклине, 86-я авеню Ю.
Вот смотрите, математика работает. То есть люди должны прийти и купить, наверное, банкет, заказать стол, как-то...
Дело в том, что с рестораном договорено, банкет стоит $55. Значит, билеты просто распространяются на этот банкет, и их можно купить. но у меня будет еще очень много, кроме всего прочего, приглашенных, которые там не будут платить за банкет, но они спонсорами являются, то есть они какие-то дадут деньги на то, чтобы это шоу существовало.
А зачем вот спонсорам это нужно? Вот какой у вас спич? Что вы им говорите? Почему они к вам приходят?
Это, во-первых, они встречаются друг с другом. Дело в том, что спонсоры, как правило, люди успешные, люди достаточно обеспеченные, имеющие какие-то компании, и они хотят точно так же встречаться с такими же людьми и делать тоже свои контакты. И я их приглашаю. Они...
Какой у вас веб-сайт, какой у вас, скажем, Facebook, как можно связаться, если кто-то хочет прийти посмотреть?
Если это конкретно шоу хотят прийти посмотреть, то у меня, Ticket New York, www.ticketnewyork.com. У меня мой номер, да, конечно, у меня мой сайт aelitaclub.com. www.aelitaclub.com. AELITA, Aelita Club, CLUB.com.
Спасибо, друзья. Обратите внимание, возможно, это будет интересно.